we can make this demarcation point of the official meeting. After hours will start now. So now's the time. If you want to booger out and not feel guilty about saying goodbye, now's your time. You can do that. So no big deal. So for the rest of us that want to stay on and shoot the hay, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, I have something unofficial I'd like to share with you guys.
What's up, Dave? David, you're the one that wanted to know if we're in after hours. Okay, go ahead.
So I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is a brand new wood shop in Georgia.
Woo!
I got 5 lathes, and the class was sold out, but somebody got injured. So hopefully they'll have somebody else sign up. But we're technically not affiliated with any wood turning group at this time. So, but it's at the Sproul Center for the Arts in Dunwoody, Georgia. And I'm building out their soft stop. So I'm pretty excited about it. It will be my first adult teaching class.
Sweet.
So,
you need to get
Congratulations.
You need to get some of our club stickers and slap on them lathes then.
Yeah, there's 5 lathes here. Yeah. Yeah, they got Rikon 70 220s here. And they're pretty stout for a small MIDI,
Yeah. Hey, Dave, send me your address, and I'll get some stickers sent out to you for the lathes.
Okay.
And then we have seriously, I want to have stickers slapped on them lathes. That's my goal. Every lathe's got to have a sticker.
I'll see what I can do. I just have to. I have to run through Sproul, but I'm sure they'll be okay with it. And then the other thing, we got from Wood Turning Wonders, we got their Kodiak system. Are you guys familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we got a 180 and 350 wheel on it, CBNs.
There you go.
And
that's all you need.
We don't. What's that?
That's all you need.
Yeah, and then we have a Rikon, the 14 Deluxe, and the filtration system, as you can see there.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting. I'm just very excited for this because, look, the way I look at it is here's a whole new generation of turners that can, not only just, influence your website, but everybody else who's turning, so I'm really excited about this. And yeah, I'd be glad to send you my information. I'm just, to me, inspiring other people to turn is something that I really enjoy.
Hey,
so just wanted to share that with you guys.
That's what we're all about, that, so, and at the same time, let all the turners know, about our meeting, and if they can come to the meetings and get tutelage from us and watch our demos and show off their work that they're making there. And, and obviously it's free, so.
Yep.
That'll be good.
Yep. Anyway, I will, I'll direct message you right now. And thanks, guys.
Okay. Yeah, you bet, David. Appreciate it. Impacting lives, and we don't even know it, folks. How about that?
That's right.
Yeah, I got a sticker story. Where I put stickers on my lathe, I've had several stickers get abraded off of my lathe. So what I did is I took I took one of our stickers and I put it on a piece of plywood, and then I put it on my lathe and turned it and put magnets in the back of it, and then I and then I lacquered it a couple times, so now it won't get abraded. And if I can stick it on anywhere on my lathe I want to. If I want to change it around, I can move it because it's got magnets.
No, that's
great idea.
Actually, the true story.
Go ahead.
The truth is, several of them in my car. Then it'll survive rain.
Right. Well, the truth is that I turned the round piece before I put the sticker on it. So.
Yeah, I didn't see who that was, but I was going to say the same thing. Put one on my rear window of my car. Didn't last too long. It might have been there a month.
Oh, that was me, Clint.
Okay, Clint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't last that long. But I mean, for the price, you know,
Oh, absolutely.
we
Right.
probably
Right.
got to use a Cricut to make our own
Yes.
for that purpose.
I've thought about that.
So what you making there, Doug?
I'm making a handle
For what?
for a 1/4 inch Badan.
That's a big handle.
No, it's just as big as my
Ain't
hand.
done turning it.
It's only as
All
big
right,
as my
all right,
hand.
all
That's
right.
all. Yeah, it's not as big as it looks, but it's almost done. I've been piddling around with it while we've been
Oh my
talking.
God, where's your goggles at? Where's your face shield?
Yeah, it's right here. I had it on a while ago.
Put it back
Sorry, you're
on,
in the
Doug.
after hours. You can turn
You're
it on
exactly
safe
right.
now. It's all good.
No,
I
you're
just-
Doug, you know the
Yeah,
one
right
time,
now.
the one time you don't have it on is the one time something's gonna fly off it and hit you in the face.
exact. Yeah, that's the way it usually works.
Nothing can go wrong. You're doing a spindle.
Yeah.
It's
They
it's
say.
it's when you don't expect it or when you're doing a live.
Doing
that's
live,
when,
definitely.
that's when stuff falls apart on you.
My thought is the one time you don't put the face shield on is the one time something's gonna break and hit
Exactly.
you in the face.
Exactly.
Any other
It sure
time when
can.
you have the face shield on and something breaks, it's gonna fly the opposite direction
Right.
of
Right.
where you're standing.
And I just took it off a minute ago so I could put some 3408 on it.
Oh, I just had
So-
to give you a hard
so-
time.
So
Oh,
let
I
me
know.
tell you about my super glue story about turning the lathe on without glasses on.
Oh, turned it on too
Uh-huh.
fast, did you?
You got a bunch
Took
of
me
dots on your
took me
forehead.
2 days to get the little droplets out of my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that. I thought it was dry. I thought it was,
Right. Right.
well,
It'll
this-
get you.
and that was, yeah, it was a lesson I learned the hard way.
And when you're transitioning from normal super glue to 3408 in that long dry time for 3408 kind of throws you off. I've had more
Mhm.
get on me since going to 3408 than I have in a long, long time. But it's just
Yeah,
that long dry or long working time.
Any transition time, any transition has a chance to screw you up.
Oh yeah.
Any outside distraction. I got called for dinner one time, turn everything down, came back out to start up again after dinner and didn't take a precaution and, screwed something up, pieces thrown across the workshop,
It can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen. I'll probably get
Yeah,
this
whenever
done
I
here in
use
just
3408, I always put it on and then I sit down and drink me a couple beers before I go back to it.
yeah, like filling cracks and that kind of thing.
Yeah, or just plain finishing. I
You're right,
always make
right.
sure I give it plenty of time.
Dang,
Oh,
your
yeah.
piece is going in the box. It's all done.
Oh,
Coming at you.
go to Scott here. Hold on a minute. Let's.
Oh, he even painted it to match your.
Well, it looks like one of those carving stands. Is that what it is?
It
That's
is.
what it is.
It is. Look at that. Look how slick that is. Ooh, nice.
Nice.
You didn't have to put that in there for me. I appreciate it.
All spins, locks,
Badass. Looking
going in the
forward to it.
box. It'll be on its way shortly.
Yep, my spindle adapter. It'll be here on Tuesday. KMS tools, $29.99. Same price as what they sell here in the States.
Really pretty. That's really pretty. Did you machine? I mean, what parts did you machine?
The whole thing. Everything but the spindle adapter.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was looking at. Yeah. There you go.
You can make it yourself for less
appreciate
than
that,
$30.
That's really pretty. Sorry, Scott.
They're 200 and something online, and you can make it for less than 30.
Isn't that crazy?
Right.
Well, you did a good job.
What's the block, the green block there, Scott?
It's ultra high density plastic that you can buy
Okay.
off of Amazon.
Okay.
And it's all machinable with woodworking tools. You
Right.
can cut it on your bandsaw. You can shave it with a hand plane. It's threaded. This is threaded right in there.
Right.
There's no insert. It's threadable.
So it's a small block of this. I can't tell you. Well, I do know where I got that from, but I don't know where it came from. My dad gave that to me. He got it somewhere. That's all that is high density plastic.
This is ultra high density plastic, so
Yeah,
it's a little
yeah.
harder.
This is that. Yeah, it's hard stuff. But like you say, it's all machinable and
Yep.
takes threads and all that stuff.
So what I did is I used a 3/4 by 16 threaded 1/2 inch bolt or 3/4 inch bolt, because you can buy inserts that fit our chucks that are 3/4 by 16 thread.
Mm-hmm.
And then you only need a 2 by 2 inch block of plastic to make the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Got a ball bearing in the top, so it spins nice and free.
Very cool.
All the stuff I got here, except for the plastic, you can buy in the hardware store.
Very cool.
This is a 1 inch bolt with the head cut off of it.
Yeah.
And then just a hole drilled through it. So it locks one way without having to tighten the nut. And this way you can lock it any direction you want by just tightening the nut.
Yeah.
On this side.
Innovative, slick, efficient.
Absolutely. That is slick.
I appreciate it.
I will
Got a hell of a box of goodies coming.
Yep. So there'll be eventually I'll put something on the website on how to build this, the dimensions.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And
I was just
all
starting
the
to write
parts.
it down.
Yeah, I gotta get it all written up, and now that I got it, this is the second one I made. The first one's a little different. First prototype was a little bit more work.
Right? Yeah, they always are, it seems like.
So this one, I decided to weld a nut. I had an extra nut, top of a nut, and I welded it to the top of this and then drilled a hole through it. Then I got to thinking about this. Not everybody's going to have a welder to do this, to make a cam like that on the top. So I just decided to try to make one just by cutting the head of the bolt off, so that anybody can make one of these in their own wood shop.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
But they're identical other than that top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the third iteration.
The third one might actually have a wooden block instead of a plastic one. Because I don't think it needs to be plastic. I think you could use white oak and it would be plenty strong enough, because you're not,
Yeah,
all you're doing is supporting the weight of the truck and the piece.
right. Yeah, it's not like it's going to be under any force or torque or anything. So
Right. It's just for holding it so you can carve on the top of it, like what Matt's been doing.
Yep.
You don't have to
Oh,
take it out
yes.
of the truck to carve on it. You can leave it right in there, and if you need to put it back on the lathe, you don't have to worry about it being uncentered.
And so another idea that Scott had, which I implemented last night, do my carving with flex grind. And so Matt, this may be of something you may want to do with your foot pedal. Instead of having to worry about spotlight myself here. You already spotlight me, Matt?
You are. You are, Dean.
Oh, there we go. Is Matt still on here?
I don't know if he's still here or not. He was. I don't see him, Dean, but you can show everybody else.
Yep, I will. So on your flex grind motor, you know, your Fordham type motors, you got a foot pedal. You know, that way it's hands free when you're holding on to the flex shaft doing your carving. And you don't need to have your flex grind running at, you know, to 30,000 or up to 60,000, you know, for some of the models. Mine will do 30,000 or 35,000, something like that. But it don't need to be running that darn fast when you're doing your carving. And so Scott and I were talking a few weeks ago about, you know, drilling a hole in, putting a bolt, a couple stop bolts to limit where your foot goes down, you know, to stop that pedal at optimal speed. And so
That's a great idea.
I did that last night. And, you know, just put your foot down on, you ain't got to worry about it. You ain't got to worry about your leg trying to cramp because you're trying to hold it in one particular spot. You know, it's, you know, I can't drive 55. Well, now you can. Now you got a governor on it. So, you know, it works like a charm.
Yeah,
so for those that have a foot pedal on their Fordham type grinder, make sure you put it dead center. That way you're not, you know, rocking off. And you know, have your bolt long enough to where you can adjust it, and then put a double nut on the bottom. That way you can lock it in there and you don't have to worry about it coming out. But it works like a charm.
Good deal.
And so that was a fun little project, you know, doing those little divots on that spear last night. First time being able to use the new Fordham type grinder. I was quite pleased with actually using it for a real project. So I was kind of happy about it. And the modification
Hey, Dane,
only took 5 minutes.
I use that foot pedal on my router bit when I'm working on a router table on the lathe too. It's really nice because it frees up both hands to control the router.
Yep.
You can turn it on and off. I use the foot switch. I just turn the router on and then plug it in through the foot switch.
Yeah.
It's really you know, a lot of different tools I use it on because it frees my hands up and I can stop it anytime I want without having to take one hand and go back to the switches.
Yeah, exactly.
It really comes in handy.
But that pedal that Dane has is a variable speed pedal. You got to make sure if you're using it on a router, you just want an on-off switch. You don't want a variable speed switch. You'll burn your router up.
I got an old router, I don't even know what kind it is, but I've used it on that variable speed switch quite often. Actually, I got a potentiometer. I got a box made up with a light switch potentiometer in it, and I've controlled it with that. And I haven't had any trouble. I won't say that it wouldn't on a different one, but it hasn't caused that one any problem.
Some of the older ones are probably okay that way, Terry, but some of these new modern ones that are single speed,
I wouldn't put it on a new one.
I wouldn't put it on a new one. If it's already a variable speed new one where you can control the speed, yes, you can do that. But if it's a non-variable speed new one, I wouldn't do that because the motors won't take it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not quality.
Right. I was chatting with a guy last week. He hooked up a light switch rheometer to his high-speed grinder because he wanted to make it variable speed.
Ooh.
Even though everybody told him not to do it, and then he came back on, you know, in the wood turning group for babies, and he was crying about well, there were several novice turners that said, yeah, that would work. There's no reason why it wouldn't. And I was very terse in my initial response in saying, if you want to ruin your grinder, go ahead and do it, because that's exactly what you're going to do. You know, and no more than a week, 10 days later, he came back on saying, you know, he fried his grinder. I wished I would have listened to that guy that said, absolutely don't do this unless you're going to ruin your grinder. But yeah,
And there are
Yeah,
people
well,
that put them on their
we're-
lathes
a lot.
too.
Oh,
you
yeah, I
can't-
know. And then they wanted to, yeah, I'm gonna make variable speed on my lathe. All I gotta do is put a light switch barometer on.
Yeah,
Go,
it don't
you got
work.
a $200 lathe. Go ahead.
No, the motors aren't, the
They're not made
motors
for
on
that.
a lathe, on it like a Jet Mini, unless it came with
They're
variable
not.
speed or you change the motor, it's not the right polarity to do that.
Right.
No.
Plus, it needs that air wind to keep the motor cool.
Right. And actually, it needs to be a DC motor instead of an AC motor. So when you swap those out from on a Jet Mini to a variable speed motor, it's actually puts a DC current in and it changes the current from AC to DC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can use a light switch rheometer.
Yep.
You know, i.e. the treadmill motors, you know, that
Right.
everybody
They're
swears
DC.
by on their cheap lathe.
Well, even your new lathes, like my new big Jet or your Powermatics, those are DC motors, and the VFD unit on the back changes the current from AC to DC to run that motor.
Yeah,
that's correct.
I wore my shirt tonight to make sure that people understood switching from AC to DC.
There you go.
Yeah, you got the memo. You read the email, Todd. I'm glad you were paying attention.
Absolutely.
Way to go, brother.
All right. I'm going to bow out, guys. Good night. Yep. Good to see everybody.
All right. Good night, Doug. Steven, what have you been turning?
I got a piece of burl on my lathe. It's the first time I've turned burl, and I put some epoxy with coloring in it in the voids, and I just went out and checked it because I had put the epoxy on the inside where the bug holes had come through, seal them up. But I put 3 coats of polyacrylic on the outside because I like shiny. I know, Danny, you don't like shiny all that much, but I got some brush marks in it. Can I buff them out? Do you think? Because I've had a bad experience one time before trying to buff out polyacrylic, but I'm not sure if it was too wasn't cured enough when I tried buffing it. Have you had any experience with that?
I don't have any experience with polyacrylic.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
The acrylics are real sensitive to heat, so if you buff it, don't do it in stages, a little at a time. Don't put a lot of pressure on it because it doesn't like heat. It'll melt it. Acrylics, when you buff them, will melt if you get them too warm.
How about
polyacrylic? Is polyacrylic like the typical resins?
Right. Yep. It's a resin based formula.
Okay, right on. So I would, for buffing, so when I buff resins or acrylics, I don't go any higher than 1200 RPMs on the lathe.
Okay.
And then it's light pressure, very light pressure.
So I have
I don't know if that would help or not.
And that's with like a 5-inch wheel or something, Dane? Like those 5-inch pads, 6-inch?
Yeah, it's probably, I don't know, 5-6 inches. Yeah.
Yeah.
No more than 6. Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't buff over 750 RPMs, period. I mean, even when you buff a car, they do it with a low speed buff. They're a grinder, but they're a low speed grinder. Basically, they don't go over 700 RPM. Most of them don't go over 750. 700 to 750.
I have that BO buffing system, and it has 8-inch wheels, and it says using it like 1700 RPM.
Yeah, that's way too fast.
Yeah, I think like I said, I wouldn't go over 1200.
That's what Bill recommends is 1,500 on them. But you don't want to be buffing, finishes that are thick. And it works. On the system, I'm going with you, Stephen. No problem.
Well, I guess I'd use
Mine's
light
not
pressure.
mine's
then.
not a Beal wheel either, so I don't know if there's
Yeah.
a difference in the Beal wheel compared to
They, and maybe they're
whatever
softer.
wheels I got.
They're a real
Whatever
fine
wheels I
cloth,
got from
very
Slade.
fine cloth. Yeah.
They're
So
real
how-
soft cotton.
Yeah, and but you know, it like sometimes I buff a finish, like a lacquer finish. Now, if you put about 6 coats of lacquer on there and buff it with it, you're going to burn the lacquer. But you know, if you put some sealing coats on there, it'll shine like a silver dollar.
Right. And that might be what's wrong with this polyacrylic, that it's too thick.
Yeah.
He's melting it or burning it.
I think I melted it the last time I tried it because I had to turn it off. Just it looked horrible.
So try wet sanding your scratches out and then buff it.
Well, that's what I was going to start saying. You can go up, you can get that, I forget what it's called, Scott. You go up to 12,000 grit and you water sand it. You go from like 3,000 all the way to 12,000 with water.
Yeah, it's micro pads.
Micro pads, yeah.
But you can do the same thing with wet dry sandpaper that they use in the automotive world. That goes all the way to like 20,000 or something.
And then, you know, that Hunt's glossy ultra shine, plastic ultra shine, put that on there and man, it's unbelievable what it'll do.
What's it called, Hunt's?
It's Hunt's ultra shine, glossy ultra shine for plastic.
Okay.
Hunt's is a brand. I even have used that on CA to make it pop on the end.
So I use this stuff. It comes in the automotive world. This is Meguiar's 105.
Yeah, I've used that too.
It's a buffing paste. But Daniel Smith, that's on here once in a while, told me to start using this stuff. It's made by Meguiar's. It's called plastic.
Yep.
It's way better than the 105. It really shines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even use the micro mesh pads anymore. I just go straight to this.
How do you put that on?
You use it on a cotton rag.
Yeah.
I use my finger when I do ink pens or bowls that are non-burl. I just use my fingers when I put on Meguiar's.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing softer. As long as you didn't your fingers put on CA. Then you'll be
You keep
toast.
the RP down?
Yeah.
No.
So I buff in the chuck and I just take a soft cotton rag, what I really like to use is old baby diapers, the old fashioned baby diapers that they used to have.
Cloth diapers.
Cloth diapers, yep. They work.
All right, I'm gonna go do
All right, Dane. But this stuff is way better than the other stuff. It seems like it's got a finer grit to it.
What kind of speed do you turn buff on that? Low?
I do about 300.
Oh, no.
Slow.
Slow.
So I use it for buffing pen blanks, which are acrylic, and it seems to work good for me.
Okay, thanks. How about Axe? If I use Axe on the polishing?
I don't know. I've never used it.
No.
For a wax, Steve?
No, on top of the polyacrylic. The scratch.
I don't like it as much as I do as the Hampshire Sheen. I think the Hampshire Sheen is a much better wax.
Well, that's pure carnauba, right, Joaquin?
I don't know what Scott puts in it. I mean, Martin puts in it. It's a mixture that he makes. And
That's completely certified food safe also.
yeah. And it really, boy, two coats of that.
Oh,
it doesn't smear your hands. It doesn't smear at all.
No, it's really fingerprint proof. Everything. Yeah, it's a really good wax. I really like it.
Must be some kind of crystalline wax and it hardens.
I think it's a part carnauba, part microcrystalline wax. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Then
so.
he sells a pure micro, I can't even say that word, micro wax also.
Crystalline.
Yeah, he sells he sells a pure one of those, plus he sells his one that's the mix. So
yeah. Yeah, Scratch Free has got a compound out, a great abrasive compound, and I forget the girl's name. She was using it to do her acrylic pens, and just 3 different cans. One's 3,000, then 6,000, and then I think one goes up to 10,000.
Yeah.
That I used without using the micro mesh, and it was okay. It was quicker, but it didn't have the pop that the 12,000 micro mesh had.
Yeah. When it comes to polishing acrylic, oh yeah. When it comes to polishing acrylic, I like to use the mesh, the micro mesh pads instead.
Yeah, I went back to them, Scott.
What's that?
I went back to the micro mesh.
Yeah, I like this plastic. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but it seems to be the best thing I found besides the micro mesh. It's the closest to it.
Yeah.
I also been playing with a little crystalline Renaissance wax.
Oh yeah, yep. That's been around forever.
Yeah, and that's a micro crystalline formula. I've been just started using it. It seems to be pretty nice.
Yeah, that stuff people used to. They probably still do. They use it on furniture. That's where it started at.
Yeah, that's where I started reading about it. Was in the furniture.
They used to
world.
sell it in big tins and stuff, and furniture makers would just rub it into the furniture.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't say you need to put anything over underneath it. It dries hard, it says.
Well, hopefully most waxes are supposed to dry hard if they're going to be used on any kind of wood product.
And it even says it doesn't show fingerprints. I've liked it so far as much as I've used it. I seem to like it, but it's terribly expensive.
Yes, that stuff is real expensive compared to others.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a 7 fluid ounce container is like $30. It's really, but it seems to go a long ways. It doesn't seem like you need much of it.
No, you shouldn't have to use very much of it at all, really.
Is that a soft paste?
Yeah. Here's what it looks like in the can.
Yeah, it's white in the can, but it's clear when it goes on.
Yeah, it turns clear once you start wiping it on. It's got a pretty distinct odor too, until it dries. Once it's dry, it loses that smell.
Yeah, it flashes off.
Yeah, it's whatever in it that flashes it off.
It's the dryers that are in it, I think, the hardeners.
Yep. Comes from England, so it can't be anything too dangerous. They're pretty fussy.
Yeah.
Martin Clarkson's not on here yet, is he? Might get in trouble for that. Floor polish. Something else you might try, Stephen, is floor polish, because they use polyacrylic on floors, on hardwood floors.
Oh, really? Floor
Yep.
polish.
I was just thinking about that. I did help my brother-in-law do his refinish his hardwood floors, and I think what we put on for the finish coat was polyacrylic. I don't know if that would take out your scratches though. Your brush strokes.
It's more of a brush strokes than scratches.
Yeah, I
tried
don't
to
think
put it real thin, but it's still. I kept the lathe turning, hoping that it wouldn't drip.
Yeah.
But I guess if you see a brush mark, it's probably too much to buff out anyway.
Right. I think Joaquim's right. I think you gotta take 1200 grit pads and polish it out.
Yeah.
And if you use water, it shouldn't get hot enough to
I'm not familiar with that.
finish.
What's that micro mesh pad you're talking about?
Hang on, I'll go get some. I got some here.
Generally come 9 in a set.
Yeah. Yeah, and it goes all the way up to 12,000.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's just because of the steps you do, working your way up. That's what gives it the more popping luster instead of just 3 steps.
Yes. Mhm.
Well, can you just use that dry for the pads?
Oh yeah,
Did you
get them
dry
wet with water.
water?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get a little tray and set underneath there and just dip it in water, and you can put them all in the water and use them one at a time and put them upside to dry.
Yep.
Right.
You can use them over and over and over again until they wear out.
So here's the.
Yep, that's what yep.
So here's what you get. They come color coordinated.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just hang this on. I got a sticky magnet with a clip on it. I just clip it and stick it to my lathe so I know which color I gotta have next. I'm terrible at remembering.
Well, Scott, I'm colorblind. I had to write on mine.
Yeah, I believe that. So
some of them, the colors are so close that I did the same thing, Joaquin. I had to write on mine because I was like, is this teal or is it blue? Is this like, what the heck?
So they come in different colors.
See how some of the colors are so close that I had to write.
Oh, you got the foam back. I haven't seen the foam back like that.
So they're double-sided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They start out this size, and I cut strips off of them to do pens. So I make them 1 inch wide to do pens.
Yeah.
Then I save the bigger squares for doing bigger pieces.
Yeah, mine don't have the foam on it.
Yeah, these are foam based, but they're the same thing. They just got a piece of foam in them.
Yeah.
Is that flexible foam?
Yep.
I like it.
Oh, that's nice.
Ooh.
So when they get dirty, I just take them in the house and wash them with Dawn dish soap, and they come back. They look like brand new again.
Yeah.
Oh.
But you can see I got several sets. So every time I use them, I got to sort them.
Who makes them?
Micro Mesh, I believe, is the name of the company. Yep,
Okay.
Micro Mesh. And they come bigger than this. These are just the small ones. You don't need them any bigger than this. If you buy the big pads, you're just going to cut them up anyways.
Yeah, if you go through the company and buy them, you can get them different sizes. But most of the time, like craft supplies, they only sell the small ones for pin turners.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Ooh.
Hopefully I get those brush marks out.
So I put across my bedways, I put a chamois cloth. And then I put like Joaquin says, then I put a pan of water underneath the piece that I'm turning or next to it. And I just throw these in there, and pick them out by color. Have my chart and pick them out by color. Or if you're colorblind, I guess you got to write the grits on them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark them somehow.
Great.
But if
I
you
put an X on the side of mine.
Yeah.
X is off to the side. So
yeah, so you don't. Yeah, if you put it on these double-sided ones, it might transfer to whatever piece you're using. The ink might bleed and transfer into your piece. So yeah, I would put an X or a number on the side, whatever you want to do. Something in the foam. You can get them at Craft Supply. Woodcraft has them. I think you can even buy them on Amazon, I think.
That's where I bought mine.
You can make a little slurry with them as you're polishing, and just make sure you wipe the slurry off between grits.
Yeah, make sure you got a damp cloth to wipe the slurry off between grits, or you're just scratching the scratches back in again.
Yeah, same grit scratches, right?
Yep.
Okay, thanks, guys.
They work good for polishing a lot of, you can polish metal with them too, but if you polish metal with them, don't use them on your wood products because
Yeah.
I mean, you got to decide what you're going to use them for. That's why I cut the strips off to do pens. Those only do pens. So if I happen to touch the mandrels or something, I don't have to worry about
Transfer it to the wood.
transferring it back to the wood. Yep.
Makes sense.